Good evening. So glad to see you all. I would love to see your faces. It's so much easier to talk to faces. If you can, turn on your cameras. Happy Monday. Um, Middle of January. It's just clipping along, hey? We just went from like 38, over 38 yesterday. It's now -5. It's like my brain cannot quite comprehend this shift that is. We've had several of those air pressure movements, and it's kind of hard on your head. So I'm glad it's -5, not 38. I'm not complaining about that. All right, who just got off of our last opportunity event? Melissa Eichenhorst and Andrea Mitchell were sharing their stories. And as I was watching, I was just thinking of all the people that I could potentially invite and have them come listen to these stories. And every week there's going to be new stories. And every week, all we have to do is tell the people to come and take a seat, listen. That's all we have to do. And what an incredible asset this is to us that Plexus is giving us, bringing the field and corporate together. I just love it. I feel like this is going to be a really big deal for us to grow and have options to put our people into, right? So one of the questions I'm going to ask tonight is, how are you doing with inviting? Because that's a topic that we're going to cover later on tonight yet. How are you finding, where are you finding your people? Are you talking about Plexus, who Plexus is, what Plexus is? Are you asking, hey, I have a really cool event that happens every week. Would you like to take a seat and watch with me? This process of inviting and inviting well is something that we're going to be covering a little bit tonight as well. So and it's not muting. I'm not sure why. So tonight we're going to dive right in and talk a little bit about coaching. We're going to talk a little bit about self-coaching and the benefit of why this is something that we need in Plexus, and how it can help us to bring ourselves from a mindset where we may have created a belief in our minds to be a truth, where someone else helps you through some conversation and some strategic questions to see, oh, it's just me that believes that. And that frees you up to authentically share and bring you closer to where you want to be. And the reason I say that is because we can give you all the IPA list in the world. IPA lists are income producing activities. We can do all the income producing activities daily and really, get all the action work in. But if our heart and our work isn't connected, people will feel that disconnect. And that's where people bring in, oh, MLMs are spammy. Don't spam me with your MLM options. It's because people are throwing stuff at you and it's not sticking because it doesn't hold value. It doesn't hold a connection from a genuine, authentic person that is sharing something, right? And so often when we help someone get started on income producing activities, what is the intent behind that? The intent is that we want to help them grow their income. They're here to bring some extra money into their households because Plexus is an awesome opportunity. Excuse me. I've been sneezing. Oh, excuse me. It gets frustrating. It gets really frustrating when you're doing the work and it feels like your messages are falling on deaf ears, right? You're not wanting to be pushy, but you feel pushy. Or you're not wanting to think in a scarcity mindset of this is never going to work for me, but it feels like it's not. And so we want to do some examples and some demonstrating of what we have been through and how we have, and I used to say this, pretend you're wearing a jacket and all your feelings and everything is like nicely tucked inside here. It's zipped up all the way so no one can see this. Because why? Because you're hiding it, because you don't want others to see what's in there. Okay, so you're just going to zip it all up. Sometimes when we sit down with someone who is very good at asking questions, helping us to see where we want to go with Plexus. Why do you want to be here? Why do you have dreams? Are those dreams real? Do you really believe that you can achieve them? Or is that just a distant, oh, I wish thing that you talk about sometimes? Oh, I wish we could do that with our kids, but that's never going to happen. Is it not? Or could it happen? So sometimes we have to take the zipper and open it up a little bit, and then we open the jacket and we say, okay, here's some of my feelings. And then we bring them out into the open. And then all of a sudden, when we bring them out, it doesn't feel so scary anymore. It's like, oh, that's not such a big deal. Why did I believe that? And it really helps us to see when we connect with someone else and we bring out the things that are holding us back, that's when our dreams become real. That's when you start writing things down and you start looking at those words and you think that's going to happen. That's real. Like I'm going to make that happen and I can do that. Then your belief starts growing and your actions follow. It's not just checking off boxes on an IPA list. And oh, I did my 2 reach outs today. I've done 3 follow-ups. It might take you 55 years to build your Plexus business then, but I can show you a better way. We want you to get there faster, stronger, in your most authentic way. And so tonight we have a treat for you. This is going to be like a real treat for me. I'm going to sit back. But we have Shelly coaching Sheila tonight, and it'll be real because they have not discussed, unless you did that behind my back, they have not discussed what they're going to be talking about and how this is going to look. And I want you to hear this. I want you to hear that it doesn't matter at what stage of Plexus you are at. You will still always need coaching to overcome that next hurdle. And if this is something that you want more of, talk to your upline because some methods of coaching are so very simple and it can just help you walk through some thought processes. It can help you walk through that struggle that is holding you back from doing the hard action. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Shelly and Sheila, and we can't wait to hear.
Okay, so I'm going to start off first of all by saying I'm probably the best person that this can happen to today because it has been a day. It has been one of those days. And I have been nervous about this because I know Shelly is going to dig down into my deepest pores of my body. And so, just so you know, the zipper will be coming down a bit today. The vulnerability will probably be coming out. Doesn't matter how far you are in this journey, there is always still growth that gets to happen. And I'm pretty sure God had this planned out for me today. So, Shelly, have at her. I'm ready.
I was going to start with have grace for us because we both have issues and I'm not a professional and we're just working through it. So we just wanted to do this. So anyway, so Sheila, so we're just going to start with what is one goal that you're really struggling with right now? One thing that you're trying to do that you know is kind of like just not happening for you.
So, something big, small.
Anything that you think is something really holding you back from hitting your goals.
Mm. Something that's really holding me back. Consistency, probably right now.
Okay. What is your ultimate goal? Like you're currently, for those of you that don't know, I think everyone here does, but Emerald or Sheila's Emerald. So what's your 5-year plan? Where is Sheila in 5 years?
Sheila in 5 years is going to be like a 10-star diamond who has complete freedom in all aspects. Like financially, time. Like I don't even want to think about the dollar sign on something. Like if somebody needs something, I just want to be able to fulfill that need. I don't even want to think about how much money something costs.
This one's for you, Susanna. Who's going to be doing your laundry? Someone else. Are you going to be doing your own laundry in 10 years?
No, heck no. No.
So
No,
the
I'll
things
pay my kids to do it, you know?
so the things that have gotten you here, what needs to change? Like, are you aware that what got you here is probably not going to get you all the way?
100% aware.
So consistency is a good thing to bring up because often the biggest issues we have are time, consistency, and fears. And there's a thing underneath the consistency. So what is your struggle? You're a perfectionist and I know you're organized. So what's your actual struggle with consistency? When you struggle getting things done, what are the thoughts that come up for you?
Oh, I am really good at blaming it on surrounding circumstances. Um, that's like my go-to. So, I am a homeschooling mom, right? And I am, like Shelley said, a slight recovering perfectionist. Um, and so my brain, and this is something that I have told myself for such a long time, my brain struggles to work in chaos. I have told myself that for a long time. And my life is so unbelievably chaotic right now. It is so chaotic. And so I am living in the epitome of 24/7 distractions and interruptions.
You think of your last 2 weeks, your average day in the last 2 weeks. If you continue to have days like this, will you reach your goals in 5 years?
Not. No, I will not.
So what is one thing you could change today?
Such a good question because I've been trying to figure it out myself. Oh, it is focusing on priorities, right? What is the most important thing right now? What can I put aside and what can I say is important? The one thing that I seem to tend to fall to is if I'm feeling overwhelmed and everything is chaotic around me, I will tend to take my phone and just go on Facebook because it's almost like I can shut out everything around me in that moment. Because I'm standing there feeling like panicky, like I don't even know where to start. Everything just looks like crap. That's how I feel. And so if I just pick up my phone, it's like, oh, little moment of peace. It doesn't mean that I'm actually doing something productive on my phone though. Like to be very honest. I'm not, doesn't mean I'm being productive. So that's almost like a default that I've done lately. So I think if I could switch that up, then I would change everything.
Mm-hmm. Because I think, yeah, we've told Facebook like we have to be relational on Facebook. So that can be like a bit of a rabbit hole that we fall into where we spend 2 hours and we've gotten 50 new recipes and we know how to decorate cookies for next Christmas.
Yeah.
Right. And then we're like, oh, it's just working. Right. But does
Yeah.
anything physiologically come up for you? Like when you have that moment of, so like you're shutting down, so you're picking up your phone as an alternative to do that because everything is, I want you to think of what's coming up for you and do you know what to do? Like, are you solid when you pick up your phone? Do you have an actual plan of exactly what am I going to do right now?
No. Like as in a plan, you mean a plan as in to avoid the doomsday scrolling of
But do you know what you need to do? Your top things like income producing activity, like Marge talked about, we have all the different things. We need to make new connections. We
yeah,
need to do reach outs. Do you know which one of those you're the weakest in that you need to fine tune the most to grow?
new reach outs probably. And that's the one I used to be the best in.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. So what changed?
Um, I remember hearing Jules used to say that it actually was harder being a jewel to do IPA sometimes than when you are not a jewel. And I will have to say that it kind of is. Um, because you are almost at I can't explain, I don't even know exactly why. Um, but it does take a different level of, I don't know. I don't even have an answer to that. But it does change something. Maybe, I don't know, maybe mom can understand what I'm trying to say a little bit. Because I have used up so much of my market in a way. And I'm constantly having to build new market. And this should not sound like an excuse because I started Plexus and I made it to gold and then everybody ditched. because our community decided that Plexus wasn't good anymore. And I had no friends. Even my two closest best friends turned their backs on me at that time. I had no friends. I had nobody other than mom. And I had to make all new friends. I had to make all new friends. And I learned how to do this. We moved to the city, which in that time was a blessing. I joined mom groups, I joined Bible studies, I joined all the Facebook groups I could, and I learned how to make new friends. And I almost feel like now that I have moved back, I'm having to learn it again in a different way because I'm again in a different environment. It's
So do
always
you feel like you're
relearning.
beginning again? Like, do you feel like you're kind of have to start the process again?
Yeah, kind of.
And does that feel, because the first time you've shared on a Zoom before, the first time you started, you felt overwhelmed. So does that thought feel overwhelming? Like you have to start again?
Yeah, it does. It does feel overwhelming. And I think
Because
I'm looking at it like this big instead of breaking it down to being doable on a daily basis.
because most people, if they had to start again with where they're at with anything, with health or with anything, usually when we jump in, we're not fully aware. And if we had to actually do everything again, statistically speaking, most people wouldn't. And so when you say I have to start something again, your body will backtrack and go through, your brain will remind you of how hard it was, and your brain will actually keep you from going on because it's afraid you're going to crash and burn. Because begin again is such a heavy, hard thing, right? So it's the concept of keeping going and looking at like the gain of everything you have and going, how do I leverage what I have? And like you said, break it into little tasks and keep going because you don't actually have to start again,
Mhm.
right? You could find one new business recruit tomorrow that could be your next jewel, that could be your next star diamond in your leg, right? So you have to find the task that feels the easiest for your brain to grab onto, but that's the one you need to do the most. Like for business reach outs, like how do you meet new people? Do you need to join a brand new? Do you need to just join instead of doing, I'm doing a Facebook overhaul? I'm going to join one brand new Facebook group tomorrow, just one brand new one, something I've never ever done. And I'm going to something like that, right? Because I think you're stressed your brain out with, I have to get here again. I have to do, because you've been at this has been a long, hard journey for you, right?
It's been a good journey. I think another thing, when you're talking, it brings up a lot of thoughts in my head. I also think that I have a lot more awareness now of where my gap thinking is. I don't look at my gains enough. I feel constantly like I'm not doing enough, but I'm really doing a whole lot more than I give myself credit for on a day-to-day basis. I think that is one of, and then I downplay it in a way and make myself feel like I'm not doing enough. Um, I think that is a big part of it. And I also feel like last month I had my whole month broken down in my goal was broken down into bite-sized pieces. And I had no problem staying on task. I had no problem staying focused because I knew what I was working towards every single day. And so much of this is honestly just me being aware of how my mind works and what I need to do to
Mhm.
to succeed on a daily basis. And I think I'm taking my big elephant and I haven't broken it into enough pieces this month. And that's why my mind is all over the place.
Mhm. Because to grow a big team seems like a big deal, but to make one new friend today is not a problem.
Not a problem.
And to make one ask is like not a problem, right?
Yeah.
So part of what we wanted to get into, and we've totally, there was questions, we're not even touching those, but like why? So you're Emerald, you're doing well, you're enjoying things, you already have a lot of freedom. At one point, this is where you dream to be. So why do you want to achieve your new goal? Why do you want to be a 10-star diamond?
Because I don't want to have to answer to anybody. ever. Like ever. Like I want to buy a huge bus, like a big bus,
Okay.
and I want to pack it up and I want to hit the road with my kids and my husband and just go away for, I don't know, maybe a year, maybe longer. And I don't want anybody to have to tell us where we're going to go or when we're going to do it or what we're going to do. I want my husband to be able to pursue, he has dreams that he's working towards and he's already putting them into action. And that's going to need some financial capital at some point in time. And I want that to come easily. What if we could do that without having to take a loan from the bank? What if that could happen because we already had the money? I want to be able to go take my kids places. Um, like one of the things we did this last year was shoe boxes. And I told them where these shoe boxes were going. And I was like, the girls were so intrigued. And Kev was like, well, someday we'll deliver shoe boxes. We will take it to the kids. And I was like, let's do it. I want to do those things. But when I go, I want to like pay for like 30,000 shoe boxes. I don't know. Like, I want to do things like that. And I do not want to have to think about the dollar sign behind it.
So you've mentioned like why you want to do it and what in your day to day has to change. So now you have to break it down. You have to start at the beginning of the month. You have to break it down. You know what you need to do. What do you need to change about your mindset to get there?
Oh, this is where the gap and the gain comes in. Such a good book to anybody on here who's not reading it. This is a little plug here because it is going to change your mind completely. I get to wake up in the morning thinking that I am already ahead instead of constantly thinking that I'm behind. I get to take control of my schedule and at the same time have grace with myself. And I just get to think in the gain a lot more. I get hard on myself pretty quickly, and that's why I think I get overwhelmed with my surroundings because I feel like I should have everything done before I can sometimes sit down and work. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So
Like
you've done
I
a
feel
recent thing. You you've you've walked around the question. You've
I
totally
did.
answered what you're going to do to think about that. But what is the thought you have about yourself that's holding you back? What is the mindset thought you have about yourself? Not what will you do to think better? What do you think about yourself? That's the reason why you're not there.
Maybe explain that question better so that I know how to answer it.
So, you've said you're going to think about the gain, you're going to think about all those things,
Yes.
but what's the thought you're having that's holding you back from that? There's a negative thought that you're alluding to. That sounds like it's like holding you back from actually stepping into the gain, right? Like
I'm
there's a lie you're telling yourself or a thought you're having.
telling myself something. What is that? Hmm.
And that just might be something to chew on. It might not be something that's jumping out because thinking in the gain, it's kind of like saying, I'm going to start to think, oh my, look at the birds. The birds are pretty. And meanwhile, they're dumping on your garden and your cars, and that's not what you want. But you're like, I'm just going to keep telling myself that because birds are lovely and people love birds, right? I am happy. I love 14,000 screaming children. It is where I want to be. Like you can say it and then you can feel it. And so you're doing all the work up here. You're telling yourself all of the things. You read the books, you know you're going to do it, but it's like it hasn't traveled here because there's something you're feeling or thinking about yourself that's preventing it from being fully real, if that makes sense.
There is. You're right. You're 100% right.
And you might have to dig a little bit deep
Just
on it because it
don't
can be a
know.
mechanism we use to cover it up. So it's probably not something you're probably gonna have to chew on it. And you're probably gonna have to like do the Dean Grazioso 7 Loves of Why. It's literally probably something you're gonna be like, oh, I think this is it. And you're gonna tell your mom and she's gonna be like, well, that's not it. And you're like, oh, and you're like, oh, Kevin, I figured it out. It's this. And he's gonna be like, I don't think that's it. And you literally might have to strip back a few layers and be like,
Yeah.
this is the belief. And I think that's a natural place to stop, because like this is why coaching can be important, and this is why mindset can be important, because the issue you have isn't going to be changed with a band-aid.
Yeah.
If at the core you have a deep insecurity, or you're scared of what people think, maybe you're scared of what people think because you're posting. So you be brave and you just keep posting, but you don't deal with that people aren't liking you. So then people are going to start judging you for another reason. And that's going to be hard. And the next thing's going to be hard. At the core, you have to look at the mirror and say, Shelly, not everyone likes you. They don't. They're going to judge you. They're going to gossip about you. They're going to talk about you. You will lose friendship and respect. Are you okay with that? And when you own the deepest level of whatever your issue is, and everyone has like many issues, but like one kind of core thing. And if you just keep putting band-aids on it and doing the work, you're going to be at some really high level, and you're still not going to know, and you're still not going to be able to move forward because you haven't dealt with the issue. It's almost like that lie that we believe about ourselves that's holding us back. And maybe it's like rejection, or maybe it's whatever it is. And this is why this is important to invest in asking yourself. And yeah, you can like hire coaches and do stuff, but you can also just be real with yourself. Like, I think if we just take time to slow down, you don't have to have, we do have questions that we can send to you that you can walk through yourself. But I think we complicate it. And I've gotten some coaching. I've never gotten like one-on-one coaching from Kristen Boss. I joined her academy. I listened to her podcast, and I listened to her coach other people. There's only so many issues, you guys. Like, there's literally a handful of issues. And after listening to her for 3 years, it's the same thing over and over. It's about being honest with your feelings. It's about being honest about saying, like, what will happen to you if you reach this? What will happen to you if you don't? And are the things that are holding you up? Are you so afraid of being someone? Are you so afraid of being either misrepresented, or sometimes we're trying so hard not to be like someone? We have that person in our life that we just couldn't handle, a parent, and we're trying so hard not to be like them that we didn't realize we turned into this, or we're turning our back on it. And if you're sitting here going, I'm just a customer, Shelly, and I don't actually want that, awesome. You're going to come up to it anyways. Like, it's going to come up in your life. It's going to come up in your parenting. It's going to come up in your relationships. It's going to come up in your marriage. These are issues because it's based in a lie of insecurity, and we're trying to mask it with other things. And some of us mask it with, I'm busy. Some of us hide it with perfection. Some of us do it with, I just don't know. I don't know how to do it. And some of us turn in because we don't want to be that person. Like, we all have different coping mechanisms, but at the core, we're created for connection and community. So the fear of lack of connection and community, of people judging us and hating us, like back in the day, hundreds of years ago, if people didn't like you in your community, you couldn't eat, you couldn't trade, you couldn't survive. So this innate need for physical acceptance was survival at one point, right? So I had this whole list of stuff, and I think I'll just leave that because I think that kind of wrapped it up nicely, right? Like, we get to a point where you have to look in the mirror, and it's going to be hard, and you're probably going to have to admit something about yourself that you don't like, and you're going to have to admit something about yourself that, like, in order to deal with my rejection issues, why I'm afraid of, that's one that I've struggled with over my life and everything. I have to look in the mirror and go, some people that I really liked, they just didn't accept me because I am me, and I'm a little bit much, and I say awkward things in many situations. I had a doozy today that was hilarious but totally inappropriate. And that's me, and some people will like me and some people won't, and I have to be okay with that. Some people will look at me and just, I'm not who they wanted, and that's okay. And that hurts to admit that to ourselves.
Yeah.
But if you don't admit that deep thing to yourself, you can't get on, right? It's not counseling, but it is coaching, and you can learn to do it yourself, and you can be honest with yourself. So we just wanted to kind of put a plug in for that about, because at the core, I think we could keep doing IPA challenges and we could keep telling everyone what to do. But if you're not being honest about what you're afraid of, and at the same time, are your fears, what's bigger to you, your fears or your goals?
Mm-hmm.
And
And
if
this
you're
isn't going to come up
bigger,
just once. I have gone through this many times. Many, many times. I have had many moments where I feel stuck. You're not stuck. There is no such thing as stuck. There's just something that you're avoiding facing. And I've had many moments like that. And I feel sometimes like I have a rock head because it feels like it takes me a long time to get it through my rock head. But those are just seasons of growth. And I can think back now at many of those times where I've, oh, and the light bulb just feels like it gets turned on. Like, that's what I was doing. That's what I was avoiding. And it just makes sense. Shelley hit the nail on the head. There's 100% something that I am blocking out and band-aiding right now. 100%. And just sitting here thinking, I have ideas already of what I think it might be, because 4 years ago this month, I had my last baby. And we have spoken about this before, that your body holds on to energy. Your body holds on to things that you have gone through and things that you remember. And while I was having my last baby and I was extremely sick, and at one point I thought I was losing my life, my team was in the biggest momentum it has ever been. It was exploding. And so, to be very honest, I believe I have a fear of momentum, because that was the most unleashed and uncontrolled season of my life ever. Like, a very hard season. And I think I'm scared of that, like, to be very honest. Yeah.
wow.
And for that, like, it's January, like that. And I believe that I get to come to a point where I am grateful for that season that I walked through in order to be able to release it. And I have thought about this for the last few months already. What am I grateful for that painful season? There's a lot of blessings that came out of it, but there's parts of it that I'm finding difficult to release. What am I grateful for of it? And what did I learn from it? And how did I grow from it? So that I can let go of it and be willing to accept momentum back in.
Yeah. And I think one thing, just as you're walking through that process, because I think when we think we have to look back at something and find what we're grateful for, we miss the piece of our original feeling. And I think we need to honor the anger and the asking of, could we not have accomplished this another way? Ask anyone who's gone through a loss and what you went through. Like, let's not diminish the loss, because the fear, the trauma, all of that, that was a huge loss. And anyone who's gone through big loss, there's always that point of a strong feeling, anger, sadness, feeling sorry for ourselves, that I wish it could have been done another way. And when we can be honest with that and sit in that, then you can move through it. But I think sometimes, and especially for those of us that are believers, we're told we need to be so grateful for this outcome that we're forced to push through the feelings. And that's like, if you compare that to health, that's like the inflammation. So now we have the issue, we haven't dealt with it, and you have all the inflammation. So you have to eat away at the inflammation, you have to get the core. And just like our products get rid of the core, you have to, getting rid of your core is owning how you feel. And sometimes we're afraid to be fully honest because it sounds selfish. And you're like, well, at least you're okay. At least your baby's okay. Like, someone's like, such and such lost their baby, so you should be happy. And so we feel guilt, or like we're not allowed to feel your feelings, and you have to be really honest with yourself. And that's not like a 1 hour process. It might be a 2 day process. It might be a week process, but you have to really sit with that and then say, okay, now that I've experienced that, now I'm going to move on and I'm going to leave that behind. And I think we skip to the moving forward too quickly, and you have to allow yourself. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes so much sense. You have to allow yourself time to process it and truly feel it. And I'm not somebody that does that too easily.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
All right. So that was fun. That was, thanks for doing that. Thanks for being gracious with us. And I was supposed to chat more, and maybe I'll save some of it, but I really do encourage you guys. You don't have to overcomplicate this. You can ask yourself these questions. Like, we can put these questions forward, but basically, if there's something you're afraid of thinking, or there's something you're afraid in your business and that's just not going well, there's a reason. Like, there's a psychological stuckness there. And talk to your upline. There's like tons of resources, but also even just listening to really good podcasts. There are other resources, and we're not encouraging you to go out and all kinds of stuff, but we're just saying, like, we want, at the core, we don't want to just see little machines and robots who are pumping out IPA and not getting anywhere. We want to see people feel healed. And that might mean slowing down to speed up, right? So there you go.
Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you
I'll be
both
praying
so
for you.
much. I bet you're all feeling very different about coaching now, right? Like, if you haven't had someone coach you before, and someone can take you through the questions, or yourself if you take yourself through some of those really mind-moving questions that really get you thinking, you come up with completely something else than you ever thought that you would encounter. So if you can see how your heart is so invested in how you take yourself forward, that's why we want to deal with our own things first. And so I'll quickly plug in a story, because I felt like it really resonated with me when we got to the point of where Shelley said, okay, there's something else. There's something that you're allowing yourself to block, and you might not know what it is, but you default to this activity, or you use this activity, or whatever you do. We all have default activities. And I think it was Barb the other day, she said she cooked and cleaned when she was defaulting. I'm like, can you all come over? I don't do that. But that's just how we naturally, I know Sheila cleans when she gets very frazzled. She's like, cleaning, right? I'm like, let's go outside. Let's see what else we can avoid. It's all our favorite flavor of avoidance. That's all it is, right? And humanly, we naturally do this. Don't fault yourself. Like Shelley said in the beginning, there's a lot of grace in this, because becoming self-aware is a process, right? And so let me take you back to about, oh gosh, let's say about 2016, 2017, where I was working towards Emerald. And I sat around the table with several women, and we all had very different personalities. And some of you might know them, some of you might not know them, but I'll just take you around the table a little bit. And then we started learning about personalities and what type of personality we were, right? And from probably the time that I was born, I was told, don't talk so much, be quiet. Why are you so loud? Can you please be quiet? So there was that in my life, right? And I've also always lived a life of truth is ultimately, I do not pretend. I cannot stand fake. Truth is ultimately what you get. And I cannot stand fake people. I'm sorry, I will not pretend for any event or anything. That's off the table. You get what you see. And like Shelley said, some people don't like me. I'm too much for some. And that's okay too. So here we were, 2016, and a bunch of us were working towards Emerald, and we're doing personal growth, and we're talking about things like this, and we're self-coaching. And I was constantly holding back and didn't want to say anything, but I was like, I had a lot of thoughts in my brain, but I wasn't acknowledging who I truly was and what my strengths were. I was looking across the table and thinking, man, I wish I could just, be friendly and happy and laugh about everything like Rosanna did. And sweet little Sherry. Oh, Sherry was just so sweet. People just liked her, naturally joined her team. And then Aoife, just the life of the party. And here's Marge. And I'll tell you like it is, and you might not like it. And you know what? That'll be hard, but I'll be there for you. And I struggled with that. I was the strongest personality of all of them. And I didn't want to be. I wanted to be like them. And I thought that if I could be more like them, then maybe it would be easier for me to attract more business people. And so I defaulted to trying to be Eva, and I defaulted trying to be like Jess because I loved all the information and all the, green stuff about health and everything. But that wasn't Marge. And it was weird for me to show up that way. And it was fake. Of all the things that I didn't like, it was fake. And then I learned about different personalities and how when you step into being fully who you are, your strengths, your gifts, your personality, this is not a place where you say, oh, I am just the way I am and accept it. No. We're always here for growth. We're always trying to show up in our best selves, right? But when I backed up and I said, okay, this is Marge, this is who you get. I have these kinds of strengths. I will tell you like it is. I will defend the underdog. I will speak up for the one that isn't speaking. And I'm going to work and I'm going to take you places of where you might not be able to go. But this is what you get. And you know what? My team exploded. Over the next 3 years, we did really big things, showing up authentically. And there was many a time that there was people that were chit-chattering behind my back, like Shelley said, to ask yourself in the mirror in the morning, are you okay when people don't like you? Are you okay about people talking about you? Are you okay about that? Because you know what? They'll do it if you grow your Plexus business or not. That's going to happen regardless, right? And so when you take your heart and your genuine, authentic self, and you actually just put that forward and you say, this is who I am, people will be attracted to you because you're naturally being who you are designed to be. And God blesses that ultimately. So that's kind of a little bit my experience in the coaching department, where you really, really learn to grow yourself and you learn to accept and love the good things and the good strengths about yourself, because everybody has them. So I really encourage you to look at your own strengths. If you haven't read Paige's post yet today, by the way, please go read it because it's really good, because it talks a little bit about having grit and doing these things and self-coaching, taking yourself through the mindset and through the things that you really value and want to take that forward, right? So if anybody wants to share, once those questions that Shelley was working off, talk to us and we'll get them to you. And I want to leave some space for Sheila to do some invite etiquette for events. I'm going to go shut up my dog.
Okay, does that mean that's my turn now?
Yes. I'm going to go make my dog quiet and then I can think again.
Sounds good. So we have these wonderful events that we now get to invite people to. Like Plexus is doing all of the work for us. We just have to bring the people. And this is, I think, another one of those areas where we can get stuck in feeling like you don't know what to do next. And so let's make it really, really simple and give you all of the how-tos and how not tos so that you feel confident walking into inviting people. First and foremost, have your list of people that you're going to talk to. You can find these anywhere. We've talked about this many times. Your friends, your family, your Facebook friends, your people that are around you. Have your people that you're going to talk to. When you have this list, please do not prejudge them, because you have no idea who will be waiting for you to reach out and who will not. It does not matter how they look, what their life is like. None of that matters, because you really don't know what they're going through until you're actually in their shoes. You have no idea the financial stress they have or the health issues that they have that they might be hiding that nobody can see. A lot of the illnesses that people deal with these days are invisible, and they carry them with them all the time. So do not prejudge. Talk to everybody. Everybody. Next, be you. We've talked about this a lot today. Just be willing to be you. For so long, I wasn't willing to be myself because I thought I had to be like somebody else in order to succeed. I didn't succeed until I was willing to be me, until I was willing to be the perfectionist, nerdy Sheila that I am, because that's who I am. And when people found out that that's who I am, that's who they wanted to be with because they saw I was being authentic. In this world of social media, honestly, I'm so sick and tired of not knowing if somebody's video is real or not. Everything is a sarcastic reel. And sometimes I'm looking and I'm like, are they actually legit? Are they not? People are just wanting real. They really just want real. So just be you. So when you have your list and you're reaching out to people, we have opportunity event for the business. Who is Plexus the opportunity every Monday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We have opportunity event, what meet Plexus, the products every Thursday night, 7 p.m. That is a guaranteed. They are recorded, the links are reused, and then they are refreshed every week. So like you can go on that link and then Monday, that one is available till the next Monday and then they refresh it. And likewise for the Thursday ones. And one Saturday a month is a gut health seminar. And I tell you, that was a fire hose of amazing information. It was so good. It was so good. If people need more than the Monday night, invite them to that Saturday morning. We have these. So now what you get to do is you get to invite people to these. We have so many different message examples in boards, in our Facebook page. Honestly, it doesn't matter what you say to the right person. It's not going to make a difference. What makes a difference is where it comes from and how you're approaching them. If you are coming to them and you just really want to help them, what you say doesn't matter. Hi, to whoever your friend is. You may have noticed I'm doing this new thing, Plexus, and I'm really excited about it. And I would love to tell you more about it. It's been made such a huge difference in my life, and I know it could really make a difference in yours as well. Would you be open to hearing more? Doesn't matter. As long as it's authentically coming from you, doesn't matter what you say. If you are looking for examples, we have lots and lots and lots in boards under, I think it's message toolbox, I think is what it's called. Lots in there. Just make them you. Now, you have invited somebody. They may answer, they may not. Do not make it mean anything. Take away all meaning because this whole entire thing has nothing to do with you. Remove yourself from the entire equation. It has everything to do with them. They may not have answered because their kids may have opened it and they didn't see it. They may not have answered because maybe their cat opened it. Or maybe they opened it while they were in the bathroom and then somebody came and yelled at them and then they forgot to respond. Life happens. If they don't respond in a day or two, go back and follow up. Or it's open on your computer, 100%. If your messages are open on your computer, they're read and then you don't even get a notification. If they don't respond, go back in a day or two and follow up and say, hey, I know how busy life is. I don't want to waste any of your precious time, but I'd love to know if you saw my last message. You will usually get a response from that. If not, that's okay. Just pretend that nothing has changed and continue building that relationship. Continue getting to know them. They may just not be ready in that moment, but you are still planting a seed by inviting them. Now, let's say they say no. That's okay. Maybe it's not a good time for them. And you can say, would you like for me to keep you informed on future events, aka next week, Monday? That'll give you a good idea of where they stand, if they are interested in more or not. If they're not, that's okay. You still planted a seed and they are still going to be watching you even closer now because you did open the door. You did invite them in. You offered them coffee. They just didn't want it the first time. Maybe the second or third time around, they'll be thinking, yeah, that latte sounds really good. Now, if they say yes, yay! This is really exciting. You may get 1 out of every 10, 15 people may say yes. That's exciting. The more people you talk to, the more yeses you will get. You will get more if you talk to more. Now, what you get to do is you get to give them, you don't just say, here's the link and drop them. That's not how it works. You say, I am so excited for you. I will send you the link. And then before the event, I will give you an update before it starts. Maybe like an hour before, check in and say, hey, it's an hour till the event. I'm really excited for tonight. I can't wait to watch with you. Can't wait to watch with you. You're there with them. 5 minutes before the event, are you ready? I can't wait for this to start. When the event starts, maybe have like dialogue in between. You don't have to, but you can. Wow, wasn't that testimony by Andrea today amazing? Because it was. It gave me straight goosebumps. After the event, I'd love to hear what stood out to you. I'd love to hear what you thought. Let me know. And then have a conversation about it. Do you know what? And they may not order right then, but you may have planted again a seed. A lot of people take 10 to 12 of these seed plantings and watering it over and over again before they're ready. But you are cultivating that little plant, encouraging it to grow so that they will be ready. You are giving them all the information to make an informed decision. Some people make that decision quicker than others, but do not disregard the people that take their time, because the people that take their time, they walk in with their mind made up, and then they don't turn away very often. I'm one of those very slow decision makers, and once my mind is made up, then you probably have me for life, because I have researched every avenue, every little corner. I know every nook and cranny of that thing. I just changed my skincare. I'll tell you, it took me a whole year. A whole year. But I'm sold now. So don't disregard the people that take time. They are worth it. They are. Work on them. Be with them. And then you do this over again and over again. And go back to the people who were not open to it before. I mean, this isn't me saying every Monday you invite people, the same people, to the same event. No. This is you're continuing to build the relationship in between, getting to know them, connecting with them. Not everything is plexus. Get to know who they are, what they want from life, what their likes and dislikes are, what they're frustrated over, what their relationships are like. Connect with them. Find out what they really want, and then see how you can help them meet those needs. And this is how you will know if you are meant to invite them to Monday night or Thursday night. They have a lot of health struggles. Invite them to Thursday night. They might just need some relief before they can even think about what an opportunity is. They're having a lot of financial struggles. Invite them to Monday. You know what I mean? If you get to know them, you will know where to plug it in. You will figure it out. It is all about giving the best customer service possible. And I don't know if a lot of you are, I feel sometimes a little old school, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I miss good customer service. And when you see good customer service in the wild these days, you don't forget it, because it makes a difference. It makes a difference compared to being swiped to the side by another fast food, who knows what, right? Let's be that good customer service for people so that they can say, I had such an amazing experience with Plexus. I had such an amazing experience. They took such good care of me that they can't forget about it. That is our goal. That is who we want to be. We want to be known for the people that take care of people. Now let's invite lots of people to these events.
Doesn't it make it like wrapping up today doesn't make it feel like, oh, this feels totally different, right? Like instead of sitting down and saying, who am I inviting? What am I going to post today? What am I going to do? I don't know what to do. And we get all frazzled, and then we go do something else, or we doom scream, or, something. An IPA list will become easy and non-negotiable when your heart and your actions are working together. Then it's just something that you're going to sit down and work on, and you're going to grow it, and you're going to find more people, and it'll naturally fall into your funnel. Will you always have to keep growing yourself? Yes, that's just life. And I can promise you, not growing yourself, I've gotten to know several older people in my life that have chosen not to grow themselves, and they have chosen to live in a little box of what they deem as certainty. And when change comes, it's so hard for them, because nothing is ever going to stay the same, right? And our intent here is to help you to come to a place of where when we talk about, hey, let's do an IPA challenge, then you are excited because you're like, I've got a list and I know exactly what to do. And I'm going to tell my new level one, she can come with me, and you can start sharing. because it'll overflow from you naturally. And just as a plug, by the way, there is still the 750 perk credits for all your new VIPs this month when they refer one person. So Plexus is so generous, and there's always something in it for everybody. And I'm really, really excited about what's going to happen this year. So think about the list that Shelly just posted. Thank you, Shelly, for posting that. And I really, really want you to dig deep into where are you going to be 5 years from now? How is that going to look? Taste and feel. What are you going to do? When your alarm clock rings in the morning, what are you getting up to? How old are your kids? What does that look like? What are they doing? How's your finances? Are they better? Do you have choices like Sheila talked about? If we do nothing, we're going to get the same results. If we're going to work on this, we're going to create completely different results. Thank you, ladies, for that. That was really, really, really good. And thank you all for being here tonight. I'm so excited to see what's going to happen all. Have a great night, ladies.